Hello everybody, this is Bonita. We are back with the last parts of our album. We're going to work on our waterfall first. Again, you've already created this. Hopefully you used my Bonita's Basic video to do this. So we've got our base completed. There is a pocket down at the bottom as well. And we have 7 flaps on here. So let's go ahead and get working on this. So we're first going to add our top piece here, and that piece is 5 7/8 by 4 1/2. And that is this lovely paper here. So I had 2 sheets side by side like this that said, cut this one at 5 7/8 inches long, and then you have this one over here, and we're going to use this one for our waterfall. And then on this one, I had to cut out this bottom piece, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go ahead. I have put more glue in my glue bottle, and we're just going to go ahead, maybe, and glue this, whoa, shoot, this top piece down. Make sure I get it going the right way. I'm just going to put it in place and burnish it down. Now we had to cut for this 6 strips, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strips. Right, we cut 7 strips that are going to go, that are 3/8 inches wide. They're going to go on down here. Okay. So I'm going to do my first strip, and I'm just going to put this white paper underneath her. So this is a flap, and this is the second one. Now again, thanks to my mom. Here's all your strips that are cut. I just ran my glue, my tape runner right down here, and I just put this on like a 1/2 inch, because this is not temporary adhesive, but because it's just such a small amount, it's going to pop right off. You can get the glue runners that are temporary. I just don't have any. So Mom, thanks again for that, because that was a spectacular idea. So I've glued that. I'm going to put it down here, and I'm just going to, whoops, I'm going to put it in place with my, finger. I need to get that over just a tad bit. Just do it with your finger first before you burnish it down. Probably could have put this down just a tad bit farther, but okay. Moving on to the next one. So I'm taking my white paper and putting it under the next flap. And I'm grabbing my next piece in line. Again, these are 3/8 inch. This gives that optical illusion, which is so cool that you've used all that paper. On to my next flap. I cannot thank my mom enough. That was the coolest idea, Mom. And I love these tickets. Isn't that cool, you guys? Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite parts. And having them stuck to that so they're in the right order is also great, because otherwise it gets kind of confusing when you cut them out. Okay. This is so fun. And one more. Can I press it down with my finger? It keeps it from sliding. Okay, and now I'm to my last one. Now this last one is the pocket, and sometimes I put a strip on there and sometimes I don't, but I'm going to this time because I want it to be, only because this ticket stopped right there, which I guess it's got stars on it, would have been okay, but I didn't want to do that. So, and I didn't have another piece that was identical to that to make this a piece of pocket. So I'm going to stick this on there. My fingers. Look at that. Okay, so now let's open these one at a time. Remember, that's important to do because they stick. They don't always, but they could catch. Okay, here's my inside. And I cut a piece. So this is going to be our top, and this is the other side of that whole side piece of the ticket paper that said uses for your waterfall. I did this, I turned it over, and I'm going to do these flaps with this. And after I got done, and I cut out my 7 flaps, then I had an extra piece that I cut, and I'm going to actually put on this pocket right like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put that down there. And this piece that goes inside, again, this is my second part of my ticket piece that I said use for your waterfall. And so this one I just cut off the bottom, and it's 5 7/8 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches. And that just gets put inside your pocket. And that is just going to go right in there. Center. And there. Okay, let's do our waterfall on top here. So I'm going to go ahead and close these flaps, and I'm going to start at the top here. So again, I'm going to start in my top piece here. And you could do the ticket side again if you wanted. I just wanted something different. Flip your next piece down. Grab your next piece. And make sure that you're only getting it on the paper. And I know that's hard to see, but make sure you're only getting it on the paper and not on the piece above it. Isn't that cool, you guys? Okay. Okay, I'm going to hold this up just a tad bit to make sure that I don't glue, and only because I need to match my diamonds up. That's the only reason I have to pay attention to it. Okay. Super cool. You know, when I discovered this, it's been always my goal to find some really cool designs to put on there. I don't think you can go wrong on any design, but it's fun. You can also, if you want, and I haven't in my last few albums because I think it gets too much, but you can also put strips of paper right in here in the 1/2 inch gussets. You'd cut 3/8 inch paper. You could do that as well. And I might this time because, I mean, we have a lot of extra paper, but, you know, it just depends. Just depends on how you feel and what you want to do. You can do so many different things. We're almost there, you guys. Almost there. And one last one. I'm going to throw that in the garbage because I'll probably get something stuck all over it if I don't. And I'm going to hold this up so I can make sure that I'm not putting it on anything but the paper. But I also have to make sure I get it lined up. And it's even hard for me in this one. Okay. Look at that. Whoa, isn't that cool, you guys? Oh my gosh. So that is our waterfall. So I'm going to close these one at a time. Look at that. Now, for a waterfall closure, you can do many different things. You can use a tab with a magnet, and we did not use a magnet on this time. We're going to actually use ribbon, and I'm going to use gold ribbon. And I like to have way too much ribbon, to tell you the truth, way too much to begin with, and then go from there. So I'm going to actually cut like 2 pieces, like 12 inches ribbon. And I'm going to turn my paper over. Now, I've already put some score tape on, and I probably should have not put some on the top, because we're going to do a couple of things, because we want to make sure our ribbon is adhered good. So I'm going to put some glue down on my ribbon, put that in place. I'm going to peel up this for just a second. And this, because I shouldn't have done it until after I put my ribbon on. And I'm going to lay my ribbon right on that sticky. Okay. I'm also going to put now tape across here. Okay, and the waterfall, because there's a lot of weight to it, I also like to put more tape on here. So after you get your ribbon on, you want to tape all 4 sides and then like 3 strips down the middle. Now, I am going to, before I put this on, I'm going to put another piece of tape over across the top of that. And I'm going to put one right down here as well. Okay, so I'll do that when we go put that on. Okay, so that will be tied, and 12 inch, actually 12 inches probably was fine. You could even maybe go just a tad bit bigger just to be safe, but I think we're going to be good. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside. Okay, again, that's just another alternative than to use magnets, and I do like to use ribbon, and sometimes I forget about that. Now, we are going to construct our back page, which is our envelope closure. So let me kind of clean my space up here. Okay. This is our envelope closure. We've made this before. So we're going to start with a base page on this. It's 6.5 by 8.5, just like all of our other base pages. We have a top and bottom flap, and they're exactly the same size. They are 6.5 by 5.25. You're going to score at 4.5 and at 5 1/8, which gives you that 1/8 inch gusset, and you're going to snip each of the sides. So we need to do that on this one. We also have 2 sides that are 2 3/4 by 8.5. You need 2 of those. And you are scoring at 2 and 2 1/8, which again gives you an 1/8 inch gusset, and you're going to nip the corners on each of those. So we're going to first start by adding our sides. This is a really fun, before we start, I want you to actually, because this is easier to do, is put your score tape all the way around and 2 down the middle. So do that first. It's easier to do that before we build all this one. Okay, so these are going to go on the side. This is one of my favorite things to do on my albums. I like to have the waterfall and this envelope closure on all my albums. I don't have it on every one of them, but on most of them I have them both. Because again, you'll be able to store quite a few photos in here. Okay. Okay. So those two sides are on. Okay. And then we have our top and bottom. And again, they're exactly the same size, so you don't have to panic. But these, we're going to open this up. And it's important that you get this centered, you know, right in between those. And it should be the same size as your base page. So we're going to go ahead and put that down. Right up to the top. Open that up. Burnish it down. And I'm going to turn this because it's easier to do this way, but this is the bottom now. This is the bottom. Which doesn't really matter because they're exactly the same. So if you get it twisted around, it's no big deal. Okay. And that's going to go right up to the top as well. You guys, you can make this on any album that you make. You've got the basics of it. So you know, if you're making your own album or you find an album that you're making from somebody else and you want to add this to the back page, then you understand how to make it. Okay, so this is how it all closes up. So we're going to go ahead and decorate the inside of it. So we have our beautiful paper for down in the bottom here, and this is going to be 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. You could also use this piece size if you want. I wanted a yellow polka dot bikini. Neptunicello, beach blanket bingo or something like that. I think that's when that song was in there. I'm going to burnish that down really, really good. And then I also have for the sides right here, these are 1 3/4 by 8 1/4, and they're just going to go on the sides. Okay. And I don't know, I don't think I cut them. Yep, I did. I was thinking that I cut them across all from the same piece, and I didn't. I did not. So that, don't panic about trying to match your polka dots. So if you're OCD, I'm sorry, because they're not going to match. This is such a fun piece. Whoops, that is crooked. So before I burnish it down, I'm going to pick it up a little bit and move it. See, that's going to say you have a few seconds to do that. And if you use score tape with no glue, you have no time. Okay, now for right in here is going to be photo mats on the top and bottom. And they are going to be, I'm sure they're 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So we're going to put one down here at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to put one up here at the top. Okay. Now, just as with the waterfall, there's many different ways for closures for this, but this one we're going to use my fun circle twine method. So I'm going to close this up. And to do this method, you really need to temporarily tack down your pieces. And so really what you need is just a dab of, and just a dab, because this is permanent, but if you have temporary, tack's better. But it's important because what's going to happen, so our top and bottom pieces are exactly the same size, and again, I cut them from one piece, so make sure you have the top and bottom, and they're both 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I just need to temporary tack them down, and that's important when I say temporary. Okay, so I'm just going to, I put that little bit of glue runner on there, a little bit of glue runner on there. Okay, so I'll be able to move them, but I need to temporarily have them in their space because we are going to create our system to close it. So what I've done is I have circle punches. You can use your Cricut, you can have circle punches. You don't have to have them 2 different sizes. I choose to do that. So I have a 1 1/8 and a 1 inch punch. So with black cardstock, you need 4 circles, a 1 1/8. So if you only have a 1 inch punch, then just use the 1 inch punch, but you need 4 cardstock pieces, 4 circles. You're going to glue those two circles each, so this is thick. So I have 2 pieces of black cardstock together. Then I punched out, and look at this. This is so funny. I went into my scraps, and I punched out 2 faces with my circle punch. Isn't that adorable? Okay. And then we need to punch a hole in the center, and I have a really small 1/8 inch punch that I use. And to try to find the middle, what you need to do is repunch your, if you used the 1 1/8, punch a 1 1/8. If you use just a 1 inch, punch a 1 inch circle, and fold that circle in half, and then open it up, and then line those creases up and fold it in half and again. And what that does is it gives you the center of your circle. So then you're going to take that and you're going to lay it on your circle, and it gives you right where the center is, and then you're going to draw a mark where the center is. And you can see on mine, on this one, it's right here and right here on his nose. That's really funny to end it right in his nose. So once you do that, you're going to then take your hole punch and you're going to punch right through that. Okay. Okay. Now, the reason we have to temporarily hold this is because we're going to figure out where we're going to put our circles. Okay. And then you're going to take your pencil, and right where that hole is, you are going to draw, you're going to make a mark there. Okay. And you have to make sure that you can see it. Okay. Now, you need to hole punch each one of those. So let's do the bottom one first. Now, my hole punch is going to fit down there, and I'm just going to punch that right on there. Okay. The bottom one is going to have our twine. So I've cut this twine about 12 inches, which is too big, but again, I always like to start with too much. So I have baby brads, mini brads in my stash, and that's all I'm going to use. And so I am going to put my twine through, maybe. I'm going to put my twine through the hole. Well, hopefully I can put my twine through this hole. I have this handy dandy little poker tool. I'm just going to poke it through there. Maybe. Okay. So my video, we add 20 minutes to my video because I can't get the twine in there. Okay. So pull the twine down, and on the inside, we need to make sure that that gets taped on there good. Okay. So again, I'm going to run a little bit of glue. I don't know where my top of my, oh, there it is. I'm like, what am I doing leaving that unglued, you guys? And I'm going to lay this on here. Now, obviously that glue is not enough. So we're going to score tape that down because we do not want it to come undone. Well, my hand is full of glue and that score tape just stuck right to my finger. And I'm just going to put score tape right on top of that. And you want to burnish that down really well. I'm also going to score tape around this because of that at the top. And I want a little piece, and again, I'm out of 1/4 inch. Well, I'm almost out of 1/4 inch. And then I want a piece right above it. And that's important because you want to make sure that that doesn't come undone. Okay. Now I'm going to take my brad and I'm going to stick it through my circle. And then I'm going to stick it through, pull your string straight down. I'm going to put this right through that same hole. And you need to open up this brad, and I want to really get it down there. And I'm also going to put a piece of score tape over that. Okay, so I am ready. You know, I'm going to go ahead and score tape. I'm going to go ahead and score tape all the way around here. And again, just because I want to make sure that when you're working on, you know, a closure, that it's good and adhered, because there'll be more tension on this than other parts of your album. Okay. Now let's give that all a really good burnish, you guys. Really good burnish. And I have my lovely, lovely pick tool. And I am going to, it's not burnished down. Take off my score tape. And we need to add a piece of score tape over that brad. Okay, now remember, we're going to add glue to this because we want to be able to, and make sure this is on top. Make sure it's not, that you don't put your stuff on top of the wrong piece. We're going to add glue to that because remember, the glue helps us maneuver it for just a short period of time. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and put that down there. You know, I might do a Bonita's Basic. I have not done one on this envelope closure, I don't think. And I think I might do that. That's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do that next. Maybe I did. Maybe I did and I'm just losing my mind. Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the top. Top's a little bit easier. So we have got our hole there. We are going to punch it. I'm going to grab our second circle setup and our second brad, which I saw it somewhere. No, let's grab another one. And this brad, no string goes in it, just as a nose. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. Can you see that? That is so, so funny. I should make that red, but I'm going to make it yellow. Okay, and we're going to put it in this hole. I'm going to turn it over, and we are going to... I like to make my brads go horizontal. I don't think it matters, but I like it. Oh, there's the brad right there, right there. I'm going to put it away. Okay. Again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to score tape right on top of that brad. Make sure it adheres good. We're going to score tape below it and above it. And we'll go ahead and go with 1/4 inch tape all the way around because I have some of this left. Well, you know, if I've done a Bonita's Basic on the envelope closure, then super duper for me. And if I did, I should have referred it to you, and so we wouldn't have taken up all this time. But if I didn't, so I'll look. So there'll be a note on the screen that says, "Yeah, Bonita did it." But if not, I think that's going to be my next one because I use this a lot. Okay. Make sure those are all burnished down really, really good. Use our picker tool. I don't know, what do you guys use for a picker tool? My mom uses a X-Acto knife, which, man, I'd cut myself. Although she got the new Cricut X-Acto knife, and it is really nice. This is a Tim Holtz tool, and I really like it. My mom got it for me. Okay, so again, we're just going to put our glue on top of the tape, and then we're going to glue on all the other spaces. Make sure this flap is on top, and make sure you put it the right right way, because that would be disastrous. Okay, let me put my glue lid on. Sorry, I get my hair in there like that. I get my hair in there. It needs to be colored. Okay, so burnish that down, and guess what? Here we go. It just wraps around here, like, you know, the manila envelopes that you have at work. So yeah, that is so spectacular cool. But you know what? I forgot. I have 2 pieces left to put on. So let's open that back up. We have our 2 sides. So again, these 2 pieces did not get cut together, so there's no right or wrong. These are 1 3/4 by 8 1/4. Isn't this cool, you guys? This is literally, this and the waterfall are 2 staples that I think you need in every album. And, you know, you give your albums to different people, so I don't think it matters that you have it in every album. They always ooh and ah every one I give away, that they just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And this will hold so many photos, you guys, so many photos. So when you, on your cutting guide, you had 2 sheets of paper that you will cut out photo mats, and so you'll see how I do those when I show the reveal. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that's dry before I close that for a second here. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. So I'm just going to leave that open because I want that to dry, but that is cool. Now we are ready to put our album together. So I just want to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I want to put on our covers. So this is laying down nice and good. So our covers, I chose not to wrap stuff around here. this paper is way too heavy to do that. Cardbell is way too heavy, and I didn't have a big enough piece of the specialty paper, but you can sure ask, you know, when you reach out to Jana's Hobbies and Crafts to get your supplies. They have, you know, the black peacock feather or the black crocodile would be great, but I chose not to do that because I think it's going to be fun. So here's what I did for the covers, and I just think that is so fun, you guys. So we're going to do the front and back cover are exactly the same. They're 7 by 8 3/4. Now I did not. I thought I put my score tape on here. So we are going to score tape around these. And sorry, I thought I had done that, and I have not. I'm slipping. And I am using, you know, I should be using 3/8 of an inch tape for this. So let me do this one. I like to, when I put my stuff together, I like to use 3/8. Get my end there. This is not going to have a closure. This album is, you know, not that super big to have a closure, so we're going to be fine without one. You sure could also put a closure on it. That's, you know, you can use the hook and eye system, which is my favorite. You could use ribbon as well, just like we did with our waterfall. You could do ribbon. And then I'm going to put 2 additional pieces on here. Let's burnish it really good. That's always important. Let's get my second piece here. I'm sorry that I didn't have this done, so you guys, you can just tape right along with me. How about that? I believe I heard that the government people are going back to work soon, and I hope that is true. My son said he heard it in the news, but I actually have not. I have not watched the news, so I hope that's. I know that's been very hard on many people, and that's tough, 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 tough. Years and years and years ago, right when I first got, right before I got married, and then a little bit after I got married, I did work for the Forest Service, and one year we had a few days off because the government was shut down as well, but not as long as this has been quite an ordeal, and I so apologize that you guys had to go through that. Okay, and then my spine, what I did is I took that same paper, you guys, and my spine is going to be the stripes. Okay, so this is that, and I just turn this the other way. So let's go ahead and put tape on that. Seems once again I chose not to do that ahead of time. I try to, so I don't have to use our precious time doing this, but I'm so excited to show you guys the decorated part of it. It's just, it's going to be so fun. So, so, so fun. I will probably put some chipboard pieces on the spine. I think I've got some that will fit. That will be fun. And then let's just put one strip down the middle of this one. Okay, so now again on my cover, when I'm going to do a closure, I usually put an extra piece of score tape right here, but we're not going to do a closure. So we're going to go ahead and before we put anything in here, we're going to go ahead and lay our book flat. Gently, gently, you can go through your, where it creases, gently. You don't want to rip it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the spine in. I always laugh when I get done with this, you guys. I have a, my little garbage can is full of all my little white strips. So it's kind of fun. Okay, remember we are going to use our glue, and that's so, 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 so important on this part. And this just gets centered in all of this. Okay, and then you just decide which one you want on the front, because they're both the same size, both the same paper, but one, obviously they're cut from 2 different sheets of paper, so they're cut differently. And we are going to get our glue all the way around and then all through there. Put it with your hand first before you push it down. This is so cool, you guys. So cool. I love it when it comes together. That is the most fun part when I'm building these. I always stress and wonder, like, oh my gosh, is this going to turn out? And then as I build it, it's incredible. I kind of do the same thing when I quilt. I'm kind of like, oh, is this going to be what I wanted? And then when I get it done, it normally is. Occasionally it's, whoa! Occasionally it doesn't always turn out. I've been quilting for 35 years. I don't read instructions. I look at the pictures. Sometimes that gets me in trouble, by the way. I just got a new embroidery machine. That's fun. Okay. Let me close this for just a minute. Let me get this closed so I don't stab myself. Okay. Wow, you guys, that is so adorable. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I have left one of my U-shapes to put in. Now I know my tutorial talks to you about how to do that, but I wanted to tell you where I placed them because we're only using 2 U's this time. So what I did is I actually drew a line at 1/2 an inch, just a little line at 1/2 an inch from my score line right here, and that's where I placed this one. And then I drew a 1/2 an inch line, this pencil line right there, from here, from this score line, and that's where the second one is going to go. So these are, unlike our micro minis that were only 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, this is up 1/4 of an inch. So because this is a 1/2 an inch bigger than our pages. And so what I like to do is I like to put my ruler, and I use this Tim Holtz ruler. I also have one from Shelly's, but I love my Tim Holtz ruler that has that. I like it. I love it. And so I put it against there. And so when I go to put this one on here, I'm going to that helps me keep it straight, and then I'm going to follow up that line just like that. Okay? So, and I know that's hard to see because it's black. I'm going to pull this off, but I wanted to show you that because we're only using 2, and this is a 1/2 inch gusset because these are 1/2 inch gussets, and this is a 2.5 inch spine, so it's going to go 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch in between, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch this, and then 1/2 inch at the end. Okay, so make sure that you get glue on here because that is important. And I just get glue everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to fold it like this. I'm going to hold onto my ruler and I'm going to butt it up against the bottom, and I'm going to follow that line I had already drawn. And I want it to be just covering that line so you can't see it. And that looks pretty dang good, you guys. So I just wanted to show you that, how I determined how they went in. Look at that. Okay. Now, we also need to have strips in between here, and they should be about 3/8 of an inch. So I am going to grab, but I'm going to step away. I'm going to go grab some paper. This is one of our extra pieces that we had left. Set that on the back. Now don't panic because we have a whole sheet to cut these out. And just FYI, when we go to cut these ones out on the whole sheet, cut them out in foursies. So you're going to cut them out so it will be 4 by 6. So we'll have 6 of those. So you want it 4 by 6. Okay, does that make sense? But we're going to use this side. So I'm going to cut my strips at 8.5 inches because, or 8, let's see. I'm going to actually cut them. What size is this? 8.5. This was 8.5. So I'm going to cut a strip 8.5 inches. Let me set this out of the way for one moment. I have to cut this, and I like stripes. I like some kind of pattern in there. So I'm going to go 8.5 inches. Again, this was our spare piece that we had, and I need 3/8 inch, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 5 of those. So I'm going to cut. You know what I should? Right here, my mom's beautiful invention. Okay, so 3/8 inches is 1 notch from. Look at that. Man, I really owe my mom a coffee. Now, if you got these out of order, this one wouldn't be as bad. But a lot of times, it's important to, these sometimes show a scene like my waterfall. Okay, that was quick. Let's get that piece out of the way. And I'm just going to make sure that they all fit in there, which they do. I love the look that it gives you when it's closed. Look at that. That's so cool. Okay, they all fit. So we are going to glue those babies down. It's easier to do these before you put your pages in, and sometimes I forget to do that, or sometimes I'm going to wait until I figure out what piece of paper I'm going to use. But it is easier to do this prior to your stuff. So did I cut that 8 inches instead of 8.5? No, I cut it 8.5. Okay. And you're just going to glue those down. Could have made them a little taller. I could have made them 8 3/4 of an inch. This is going to be just fine. It's the same height as your spine, your binding pieces. Again, I like this binding piece because it doesn't give you any pull. It doesn't have all the pages pulling on it. And when you have all your spine attached, like some people do, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like it because it makes it heavier and pulls your papers. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay. All right. So let's take a peek. I'm going to open these up as best as I can and get them to stand up straight. Look at that. Isn't that cool, you guys? Okay. Let's give that a good burnish. Now let's go ahead and put in our pages. So I like to put, and we're going to have to start with 1. I like to put my pages in one side first and then go backwards. So the odd pages had the 1 single strip on of score tape, okay? So I need my paper, and I'm going to get that white paper on here because that helps a lot, you guys, with that white paper. And I'm going to take page 1. And remember, we have that strip right here. We're going to take that strip off. And that, remember, we're just going to put it on the top 1/2 inch of that. This is not a foolproof system, but I think it's a pretty good system that more often than not, and I'll probably make a mistake, but more often than not, my pages go on very nicely. When I do the ones that they're all hooked together, if you get your spine tilted, then all your pages are going to be tilted, and there's no way to fix that for you. Okay, so again, I'm going to put glue on there, put my paper in there, lay this down, and I'm going to put that on. Again, it just goes on that top 1/2 inch. Look at the bottom here and make sure you feel like you've got that straight down there. Kind of just press it with your finger and then move it over. And that looks perfect. And I know it's hard to see, but that one looks perfect. Okay. We're going to set page 2 aside, and we're going to grab page 3. Okay. Again, page 3 is going to go right on top of there. So we're going to take this tape off. We're going to put glue down here. And right on the top 1/2. And again, kind of look to see if you feel it straight. Finger press it gently, turn it over, and see if it's matched up. It's matched up perfectly. So now I'm going to come back and put it down. Okay, I'm going to put page 4 aside. I'm on to now page 5. Sorry, this page is hard. Paper's hard because these want to stick straight up. Okay, so this is our page 5. That woo do 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 do. Is that like the Twilight Zone? Okay, so I have page 5. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to pull off this. I'm going to glue this down. And again, we're only adhering it to that top 1/2 of our binding system. Move my paper out of the way. See if that looks straight. I'm just going to finger press it down. Off just a little bit. Perfect. This one I'm going to open up so I can press it right here. Okay. All right. Knocked my glue over. Taking page 6, setting it aside. And now I'm on page 7. I have had so much success putting my pages on like this than I ever have since I've moved to this system. And again, you're just going to gently use your fingers, turn it over, make sure it's straight. It's incredible. Okay, so I just want to show you. See how nice those are? Look at that. Okay, now I'm going to go backwards, if you can remember that. So I'm going to go to page 8. Now when you go to put the rest of the pages on, we're going to be concentrating on putting them together here. This is where we want it to match. I don't care about down here. It's going to be fine down here, but it's here that I really want it to match. Okay. Okay, again, we're going to put glue on our tape, super important, down the middle, and then scribble on the sides. Focus on the outside corners. No. Perhaps. Make sure it's down there. Good. Okay. Now we're on page 6. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. Again, when the albums come together, and to me, it's just incredible. It always makes me enjoy the paper more once I get it together to see how I've manipulated the paper. Okay. Again, I'm worried about the outside. Let's get the outside and the top. It's kind of like a process. Okay. I'm on page, oh yeah, 4. Sorry. Didn't know where I was at there for a minute. Thought I was on the last page. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So it's kind of cool. We've created 2 mini albums, micro minis, I call them. This album, this mini album, normal size. We used no magnets. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool, you guys. Pretty cool. If you learn to make your flaps in the right spaces, you don't have to use a lot of magnets. If you put a flap here that's going to open here, then you're going to need a magnet. So you learn that, and this flap's long, so it's going to hold that in place. Okay, we're on our last page to put in. Wish you guys could see my mess over here. And the last video we have will be of the albums, the micro mini, and the train set all decorated. And we'll walk through what I did for that. Okay, so I'm going to get, oh, I'm not done with that yet, so, but just a minute. I'm just going to put that on there temporarily, my glue. Okay, so now we have all of our pages in there. Now, what I want you to do, though, is now we need to bend at that 1/2 inch mark. So I'm going to start backwards because I want to let that glue set a little bit longer. And I bend it, and I bend it both ways. That is what helps make your book stay flat. And really with 4 pages, it's not as detrimental as when I have, you know, way more pages in there. But when you get photos in here, then that really helps. But see how that lays flat? When you get that 1/2 inch gusset, it keeps it off, but it also gives that a little bit of give. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I love this page right here. Okay, so let's put on our waterfall and our back page. So on our waterfall, we're going to put this on here. I'm just going to center it down here. And I probably will use the same paper right here and make strips that go on there. So and I will do that later, so you can choose to do that. I want to, you know, kind of check it out. Okay, so let's get all this tape off of here. Remember, I got to add one more to my ribbon on top there. Whoops, what was that? That was kind of funky. That's never happened before. Okay, so I need to add piece right over top of this at the top. That's really important. And I'm going to add a piece right here. Okay. Need to burnish that down a little bit so it stays. Okay. Again, it's important, maybe, my glue's getting a little thick. I don't usually leave it open as much as I have tonight. Glue on all the tape. Okay. Make sure it's right side up. And we're just going to center that in the middle of our album. And I might leave just the black around there. I think that actually looks super, super cool. Now I'm going to put my top back on here, you guys, and I'm going to open this up. And remember, you need to open these one at a time. And I am going to burnish in between each one of them so I get that all the way down. And you can hear it. Okay. Again, I'm going to tie my ribbon. And you know what's cool about this ribbon? And again, I would probably go 13, 14 inches and then trim it. I always get a little nervous because this is actually just exactly perfect how I cut it, but you know, I'm lucky. But what's going to happen is my ribbon eventually is going to get flat in there and it's going to be really cool. Okay, let's go to the back page and let's put in our fun envelope closure. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. It's easier when you have it in the book. I just think this is so cool, you guys. And I will use fray check on my ends of my ribbon and on the ends of my twine. Okay. We are almost there, folks. Almost there. What an accomplishment. 2 micros, 1 regular mini, and a train. A very cool train, as a matter of fact. Okay. We're going to put glue on here. Glue all the way around, down the middles here for tape, and then in the spaces. Okay. Make sure you're right side up. And you're just going to center that in there. And I'm going to get my hair in the place again because that's what I do best. And I'm going to open this up because I want to give it a good burnish just like I did the other one. Oh my gosh, you guys. So let's just, all right, there we go. Let's do a quick run through and then we're going to call it good. And then the next time I see you, it'll be all decorated and we'll talk about what I did. Okay, so here we go. We have our beautiful waterfall. We have page 1 that opens up, 2 great photo mats, 2 double pockets here. We have a spread. I love, this is even cooler when you have it, when I can see it all together. Our double pocket here. We have this great spread here with lots of stuff on it. Remember, we'll need some scrap paper on here. This is fun. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. We'll need to put scrap paper here. And this pocket. Okay. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I'm so excited to join you one last time on this project, and we'll have it all together. Thank you, and I'll see you real soon.